that was something that must have been a fear for you, because you had an early success with a character that we all still talk about, and the young ones we still talk about. You have gone on, I think, to show that there's a lot more to you than that. But if you'd ended up just playing Neil for the last 40 years, Kenneth Williams had to end up playing Kenneth Williams.
I'd be quite wealthy.
Do you think people would still be paying for it? Here he comes again. His final come back to a hole in my shoe. Here we go. But it's a danger, isn't it? As a comedy actor, comedy performer, you want to do something successful that everyone knows and loves for the rest of your life, which you've done several times over, I'd say. But there's that flip side that I think for Kenneth Williams more than anyone, who saw himself as correctly as a fantastic actor. He sort of got pigeonholed into something.
And Harry H. Corbett, I don't know if you remember him from Steptoe and Son. The son in Harry H. Corbett was he had just done a seminal of a generation Richard III at the Royal Shakespeare or wherever, the equivalent of, and he was a proper actor.
Yeah.
And he got this part of in the Steptoe, Harold Steptoe, and that was it. And he wasn't happy about it, because that was the limit of it. And he did resent it the rest of his life, which is a shame, because you think it's so good.
It is so good, and that's it. It goes two ways. I think we had Michael Palin on, and he was very happy to talk about all of his everything he did and quote sketches and stuff. And I think that's the way to go, really, isn't it? To be proud and pleased of what you've done and glad that people remember it and love it. But for Steptoe and Son is actually, Steptoe and Son's close to being as good as Richard III, I'm afraid, in reality.
Well,
no offence to Shakespeare, but he couldn't have done 80 episodes of fucking Richard III, could he?
I suppose not. Mind you, 80 episodes. We didn't get near that with the young ones. We only did 6.
No, 12.
No, 12.
12. 6, 2, 0.
It
felt like 6.
It's not a lot. It's a few weeks' work.
Yeah.
The way Adrian always describes it is, he was counting it up. He said, it was, so that's 3 months' work 43 years ago.
Yes.
So that's how he likes to think of it, because he likes to move on, put it in the past. But it was quite an important 3 months' work.
Well, I was saying to backstage, for me, it was, I'd loved Monty Python and I'd loved Pete and Dud, and not the 9 O'Clock News, to be fair, but they were mainly things that were like previous generations. But the young ones came along and it was ours, and that's what I think any comedian of my generation, the young ones was our thing, and it was mind-blowing and life-changing. And I think also led to, regular kids. I was growing up in Somerset, I'd said I want to be an actor or a writer to my career's advice, and they said, well, you can't do that, you'll have to work in a bank. I go, well, I'm not going to work in a fucking bank, I'm definitely not doing that. But, it wasn't, it felt like the punk movement of comedy, and it made comedy seem accessible to regular kids, I think. So it was massively important, I think, as a series.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. It's not worked out. But yeah, it is. We won't talk about it too much, because we did a lockdown chat together. I think it was the last remote lockdown chat. I think was you and me, and of the COVID period. And we did talk a little bit about the young ones.
I can't remember what we talked about at all.
I can't remember.
So you can repeat yourself.
You can. It doesn't matter.
I'll look as surprised at all your questions.
I don't know if we talked about, because I was interested in how it came together, because it felt like, did someone decide to put you guys together, or did someone write this? They'd seen you all at the comic strip, presumably, and said, let's put you in, let's put you in, let's put you in. Was it something you...
It was kind of that. Paul Jackson was very instrumental in it, who was working at the BBC producing Top of the Pops, is what he was producing at the time. And he came down the Comedy Store and he saw us all. And we were always hustling to get on telly. There was a programme called Friday Night and Saturday Morning, and Rick did a bit of Kevin Turvey on it. We were at our little slots, and I did, with Peter Richardson, we did The Outer Limits on that. So we had a little bit of taste of telly, and Paul Jackson came up with the best stuff, of which was something he called Boom Boom Out Go the Lights, where he took from the club and put us onto one of those TV light entertainment floors, because the cameras have got to all slide around on this white light entertainment floor, and everything's properly lit. And it kind of took an awful lot of the bollocks out of it. But we did 2 of those.
Yeah.
And so we stuck together. We were all talking about a house. Wouldn't it be good to do a house sitcom with the sketches so that each room would have a different one of our acts? There was Rick and Aid was one of the acts. Me and Peter was one of the acts. And then Rick and Lisa and Ben came up with the idea for calling it The Young Ones, that they're students, that Alexis the landlord. And so we all got to ply our acts on telly in a way that we considered viable, rather than giving in to what the standard way of doing it on telly.
And it started together. It started together pretty well in terms, I guess, of you and Rick and Aid being, not having worked together directly, and then suddenly being.
Well, we'd been working together on tours as acts in the same show, in the comic strip show. We'd done sketches. We did something at a place called Pentameters, the 4 of us. So Peter, myself, Rick and Aid were already a sort of gang. We did a band called Nice Weather.
Okay.
Which is kind of a precursor. They were the hippie version of Bad News before they came along. And we did something else called Let's Going, which is a travel writer called Let's, somebody Let's. And we did, we were doing sort of sketches and tours. And one night I remember on a tour, either Rick or Adrian couldn't turn up. They were late in the train, and I had to put the paper bag on my head for whatever routine it was and go out. So we were we were all in a gang, really.
Yeah, and it was an incredible time for comedy, in terms of the alternative comedy boom that you were right in the centre of Channel 4 kind of emerging at the same time. The comic strip is that's one of my memories of the first day of Channel 4, the comic strip was Comic Strip 5 Go Mad in Dorset, but then all the other ones that came after that as well, which you're obviously at the centre of as well. Yeah.
I'm not in that one, though.
No, not in that one, but you're at the centre of the comic strip.
In a way it's good, because we got Ronald Allen to do the part that I would have done, the old guy, to play Uncle Quentin.
Yes.
And that's sort of Peter, in making those scripts, always sees me as the sort of the pervy uncle. Character.
Yeah. I'm that of my generation.
Is that who you are? Yeah. But I was unavailable. I was doing something called Shine on Harvey Moon at the same time. So it was quite a stressful time. I was in all 3 series at the same time, which meant timetables were quite difficult.